PPP, EIDL, ERTC. Do any of those acronyms ring a bell? We've got the Paycheck Protection Program, the Economic Injury Disaster Loans, and the Employee Retention Tax Credits. Those are the things we're going to talk about in this video today. Today is October 14th, and that is the day that this video is recorded, and it is the day that this is being posted. I want to date this video because this is an update video. I'm giving you an update on all the programs, and you need to know when these updates happen, because you can't watch my videos from last year in 2020 and think that all of that information is still the same today. We've got to continue to update these videos and let you know what's happening in these programs. So that's what this video is all about today. That is what I think you need to know right now. So hopefully, please stay tuned to the very end of the video, because we're going to go through all three of the programs, and we're going to talk about PPP last, and I know that's something that a lot of you guys still have questions on, but the other two are a little bit more urgent, so I want to talk about those first, okay? So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. This is the type of stuff that actually is time sensitive, and I do want you to know about it right away, so all the more reason to subscribe and put the little notification bell, click it, so that you can get notified whenever I post a new video. All right, let's just go ahead and start talking about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program first, okay? So all of this, and the reason that this update is coming to you now, is because there is a bill looming in Congress. It's very, very big. You may have heard about it. It's the infrastructure bill. The infrastructure bill is huge. It has bipartisan support as well. And it's already gone through the process to now where they're negotiating details on it. So the point is that we do think that this bill is probably going to pass in one form or another, and it has some very key components of it that affect the coronavirus stimulus programs. So for the first thing is that the Economic Injury Disaster Loan funding could be snagged to help fund the infrastructure bill. So if this bill passes, the unobligated funds from the Economic Injury Disaster Program, loan program, could be shifted towards the infrastructure budget, okay? So what that means, and this is what it means for you, is that if you are still considering an EIDL loan, or you're considering an increase to the EIDL loan, you want to go ahead and do that. You want to go ahead and request it, or request an increase now before this bill passes. Because if this bill passes, that money is no longer available. You can't get it again. Sorry, no dice. You can't get it. So that's why we want to talk about this today. The thing with the Economic Injury Disaster Loan is last month they increased the total amount that you could get. It used to be $500,000, now it's $2 million. Now keep in mind, you need to have real estate as collateral if you go over $500,000. So keep that in mind if you're considering about an increase, but that is available to small businesses right now. Remember, this is a 30-year loan. It is not forgivable. Economic injury disaster loans are not forgivable. Do not confuse them with PPP. They are not the same thing, okay? 2 years of payment deferral on EIDL loans. So if this is something, maybe you've been trying to get some funding and you can't find it anywhere else, you still can consider an EIDL loan, okay? There's still money available there to be borrowed. All right, so please consider that and take action soon if you can. I just went through this process with a client where we increased the EIDL amount. Very, very, very simple. You actually need to go into your portal, log in, and you can just click a button that says request a loan increase. And then the SBA got back to them the next day to asking them how much they wanted. Okay, so you do have to take a first step, and then the SBA responds to basically tell you how much you can, and then you go in and you request your loan amount, okay? So this is a couple-step process, so if you wanna get started, you start now, all right? Urgent, urgent, if you are considering it. Next, let's talk about ERTC, Employee Retention Tax Credits, or ERC. You'll hear it called both things. The big thing about Employee Retention Tax Credits, also that relates to the infrastructure bill, is that if it passes, ERTC for Q4 2021 will not be allowed. It will go away. And this will happen even if the bill is approved. Let's say it's approved in November or early November or something like that. The bill as it's written right now ends the ERTC program as of September 30th. So that means that you can claim ERTC from September 30th and earlier, but it eliminates the credit for Q4 of 2021. So that is very, very important for a lot of you who are trying to take your credits real time. Maybe you qualified because of revenue loss in Q3 and you're thinking, hey, I can take real time credits and not pay all those taxes every time I need to go and report taxes on those payroll taxes. I can just kind of, hold back that money. That's what I would normally recommend if we knew that this program was going to, go into Q4. But what I'm hearing from payroll providers is they're actually saying it's better to potentially not take the tax credit real time because you might have to pay it back if the infrastructure bill passes, especially as it's written right now. So for business owners who've been trying to take this credit along the way, this Q4 is something that you really need to consult and think about with management, consult with your payroll provider, consult with any of your CPAs, but also think about it from a cash flow perspective and from a management of your business perspective. Do you want to be taking a credit that might not actually be there at the end of the day? Because if that's the case, you could you could have to repay that money. And so one of the things that we're seeing people recommend at this point is to mark your wages as qualified for ERTC during this period of time, but then report them on the 941 at the end of the quarter. So you wouldn't necessarily be able to take advantage of the cash flow break during the quarter, but you could potentially still qualify for the credit and still get it filed in a timely manner at the 941. So this is kind of I'm not giving any advice here. It's just kind of something that you need to weigh based on your management and your risk assessment and kind of where your cash flow is. Do you want to try to take it real time? How confident are you that the infrastructure bill will actually pass? This is ultimately kind of a decision of the business owner, okay? But some payroll providers are currently saying like, hey, maybe not a great idea. So if they're saying it, maybe it's something that you might want to consider, okay? So just think about that. ERTC Q4 might not be happening. Plan for it, okay? We got to plan for worst case scenario and best case scenario. ERTC has been an amazing program. So much money coming back to small businesses. So if you're concerned you might be missing out on this ERTC money, please make sure you consult with somebody. I will put some resources in the description box below. We have Jamie Troll's calculator spreadsheet that will give you a general idea of what you could be getting back with this tax credit. But we also have an ERT specialist on our team that you can book calls with and go over any of your assumptions and go over to see whether or not you are qualified, okay? So I will put those resources in the description box below, so be sure to check that out if you're still needing help with ERTC. So I will say that you can also check with your payroll provider and see if they have an ERTC assistance program. So some payroll providers have actually put together whole groups to help their clients through the ERTC process and even help them calculate the amount of qualified wages and the amount of the credit. So it's worth looking into, okay? Because I've seen some CPAs that are charging to help with it, and some of them are charging 10 and 15% of the credit amount just to file and calculate the ERTC credits. So, it's okay to shop around a little bit and try to find the best deal to help you claim these credits, because this is a lot of cash flow that could come back into your business, and do try to get the best, the best calculation, but also a reasonable deal for your business as well. Okay, so the last thing I want to mention to you guys that somewhat relates to the infrastructure bill is the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. There's an update to that. So there is no new PPP funding coming in the infrastructure bill. That's not what that bill is for. If anything, the funds that are left over in the Paycheck Protection Program will be rescinded, is the term that they're using. That money will be rescinded into the general fund for, well, I don't know exactly what fund it will go into, but basically that money will be used for the infrastructure bill and to fund the infrastructure bill. So that means that any remaining PPP funds that could have potentially been distributed again with some sort of like reapplication process or something, those funds will be lost. So we have not been holding out for a third round of PPP. I haven't. I hope you haven't either. They pretty much said that the PPP program is closed. However, there was still some funding because of the repayments of the loans and also some of the fraud that had been recovered and things like that. So there was a bucket of money in there that is essentially going to go away. Okay. So just don't hope for any more PPP because of this infrastructure bill. So I want to make sure that that is clear to you and you can make your funding decisions, as you need to. A couple other things regarding PPP. You know now that if you've been watching my videos that the direct forgiveness portal is open and available and taking applications. They've actually processed 1 million applications through the direct forgiveness portal of the SBA. So that is huge. If you have a loan under $150,000, please check out that video and also make sure that you go ahead and get your loan forgiven. You don't need this sitting on your balance sheet going into 2022. Get this thing taken care of. I think the SBA also wants to get it taken care of, and so do these banks. You're going to start to see more and more urgent notices to get your PPP loan taken care of because the banks don't want these loans sitting on their balance sheets either. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that is an option for you if your loan is under $150,000. Now, the very last thing I want to mention about PPP is that there has been still some concern for borrowers who have overlapping covered periods. You'll know if you've been watching me for a while, this was a really big issue. There was one lender in particular that was issuing loans back to back, and the rules of the SBA program of the PPP state very, very clearly that you're not supposed to have overlapping covered periods in your two loans, PPP 1 and PPP 2, the first and second draw, okay? The SBA has continued to be silent about this when it comes to guidance. They have not clarified anything. I am checking weekly on whether or not we've got some word come out about this issue. However, anecdotally, and I'm going to say very anecdotally because I'm literally meaning YouTube comments, people are saying that they are getting their loans forgiven even if they had overlapping covered periods. Ultimately, the rules do not allow that. And I just want to make that very clear and reiterate that here. The rules have not changed, okay? Technically, you should have never gotten those loans, but this does not mean I'm not giving you any action or any advice on what to do at this point. I'm just telling you nothing has changed when it comes to the rules from the SBA. If something changes, you know I will tell you guys about it, so stay tuned. I would love to give some information, and if I could figure out who to talk to really get some clarity on this, I would love to. I feel like there has to be hundreds of thousands of loans in this situation, and I don't know why they're not addressing it directly. So maybe if we can get a little loud about it, maybe we can get some answers. All right, well, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate you guys being here. If this was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate all of those little thumbs up. And please type any comments in the comment section below. I would love to hear how it's going for you. Did you get your PPP loan forgiven? Do you still have an EIDL loan? Are you considering an increase? Do you have questions about ERTC? Feel free to put them in the comment section. We are looking at all the comments and trying to answer as many as we can within the first 24 hours of this video. So please make sure you are also subscribed and, be on our email list too, because even if you miss the notification from YouTube, I always send out an email the day after the videos post to remind you guys that there's a new video. So feel free to get on our newsletter list. We would love to have you there. We put other helpful content in there as well. So, all right, I think that's it. That's enough updating for today. All right. Thank you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.